Alright. Hang on, I'll turn this volume down. Actually, I can just turn it down on my headset. Jesus. Okay, so I initially finished this game during the relevant era of PS2. I tell you, it's not as fun second time around. I actually don't think I enjoyed it at all, and not because the game is bad, just because it's not a game that is replayable. There was no surprises, there was no excitement, it was just boring. So I didn't do 100% completion because this game takes fucking forever and I wasn't about to spend another 40 hours on top of the 50 hours that I spent playing this week. So I'm gonna try to keep this from getting long and spoilery. Final Fantasy X was the first game to come out, or the first Final Fantasy game to come out for the PlayStation 2 era. It was also one of the first Final Fantasy games to go away from pre-rendered backgrounds into real action, I guess is what you would call it. But no, it was the style we know from any of the new games and MMOs in general. So the characters, so you have 7 party members, and you can swap them in and out during battle. For every character that takes an action, they gain AP, which is this game's version of experience points. There's a very big sphere grid that you use to go around and put these orbs into stats and abilities. It's bloated because the thing is huge. It's probably got like over 1,000 nodes in it, and there's not really a point to doing it past a certain point. Like, each character has a predetermined path, and all the other nodes that link the other paths are all blocked off by these key locks, and I don't know. Just wasn't. It definitely was, like, I know a lot of people who love it. I didn't. I wasn't really impressed by it. I prefer the old, go up levels, learn abilities scenario, because that way you're gated a lot better. There were some pretty big exploits in this game that they didn't take away in the remaster, which I thought was kind of stupid on their part. I mean, I literally can kill the last boss in one hit. Like, that's, that's not good design. This is the last Final Fantasy game to utilize turn-based combat. We haven't seen it since this game. Well, since 10-2, which I'll talk about later. This game is extremely linear. Like, to the point to where there is no optional stuff until you get to the very end of the game. And I don't really have a problem with that. I think that linear games get a bad rep. This game, it fits and it makes sense because you're like, all right, we're gonna go here, so then you go there. There's nowhere else to go. Why would you go anywhere else if that's where you're supposed to be going? Logically, it doesn't make any sense. So I was fine with that. 13 was bad, but it wasn't because of linear. It was a whole bunch of other reasons. So character development, like it feels weird. Like it feels like some of these characters have like so little amount of development. Like the game is really shines around 3 people, and everybody else is just kind of like there. They're not really they don't really have any input, or there's no depth to them. Like the game is about Tidus, Yuna, and Auron, and nobody else matters. Literally nobody else matters. There's like minor conflicts here or there between them, and that's it. So that's empty to me. It's like it's hollow. So I think that it would have been better writing, like if they would have elaborated more on a couple of things. You know, like we know a little bit about like Wakka and Lulu and Kimahri, but we don't know like a lot. There's not a whole lot of depth there, and that's something that I was disappointed with. The battle system is really good. I really liked how they use status anomalies as a big factor, and that's a really good mechanic. It's like, all right, this enemy uses this status anomaly. How do you deal with it? And then you go from there. You figure that out. Each character also like excels at a different task, which is important. It gives them each a unique trait, which I thought was really good. So one thing I have to say is I don't like how long the end game is. Like it's like, okay, so you go all the way there and you're like right before you hit that last boss, and then it's like, okay, now you have all this shit to do. Like that is crazy to me. Like, you know, to get like some of the ultimate weapons is extremely difficult, but not really like gratifying to do. Like one of them is really intense. Again, I don't want to go into spoiler stuff, but one of them requires either like it took me literally like 9 hours to do the stuff I needed to do for one weapon, and then the other one was just super frustrating. Some of them are easy and make sense, but some of the other ones are just like super long. I'm just like, oh my god. And some of the voice acting falls flat for sure. Like the main character's voice acting is really good. Like Tidus's voice acting was good. His dad's voice acting is good. But like Yuna, her voice actor is just like so like boring. Just doesn't sound like she wants to be there like at all. But you know, whatever. Lulu the same way. She's just like it's just flat. Again, but this was one of the first Final Fantasy games that we had voice acting in. Yeah, it's the same voice actors. Unfortunately. There's like parts during the voice acting that is just like really cringy. Like it makes my ears hurt. So I would like literally like mute the TV because I was just like, oh, I can't deal. Like, and it takes so long to get out like one conversation. I'm just like, oh. So the voice acting, like, easily the worst part of the game. Like, without a doubt, the worst part of the game. Like I said, the boss fights are, to be honest, are like pretty simple until you get to the end of the game. Once you hit the end of the game, like these bosses start using stuff like zombie and stuff, and you're just like, I have no way to handle this, like, at all. You know, like if you don't level build in this game, you can really get your butt kicked at the end. Not anywhere else though. Everywhere else is fine. It's just like right at the end, you're just like, oh my god, I don't know how to handle this. And honestly, I don't think even level building at that point will do much, because there's a boss that literally will cast a zombie attack that puts zombie and confusion on everybody, and then she'll start casting Kiraga on everyone. So the only way to handle it is to put reflect on everybody, and it just like have someone using Phoenix Downs the whole time. As soon as they die, use Phoenix Down. use the Phoenix down, use the Phoenix down, use the Phoenix down, and then use your limit breakers. And now that's like the only way to survive. But everything else is pretty simple. One thing about Endgame that was just so bad, oh my god, this drove me insane. So in the remaster has it's the international version, the same for Final Fantasy 12. Oh my god. So in the international version they made these optional summons that you get on your team, but they made like bad versions of them, and these things literally kill you one hit. Like they do the max damage, dude. They're meant to you're meant to kill them way later, like after you've maxed out all your stats and stuff. That wouldn't be a problem, except they all appear in random ass spots and you don't see them coming, and by the time you do, it's too late. So like, okay, I was like farming for like 5 hours and I stepped into an area that normally in the original version was totally safe, but because this is the international version with the Dark Aeons, I walked in there, got killed, and it erased 5 hours of my time. I was so fucking pissed. Like, I almost just said fuck it and was like done at that point. Because again, I've beaten this game before. I've done everything this game has to offer. I don't need to do it again. Oh, yeah, I don't like him either. He's probably my least favorite protagonist for the Final Fantasy series for sure. Okay, so what else? We want a story progression, very slow. Very emotional though, for sure. They're very emotional. Went over post-game stuff. There's like one, so in every Final Fantasy game you have things that always are in them, right? You have Omega, you have you know, stuff like Masamune's been in every one of them since 4. All those stuff, like a lot of that stuff basically come back. One thing I liked that this game had in it is one of the most powerful summons in the game is called the Magus Sisters, and they were a boss in Final Fantasy 4. So like if you played the older games, there's things in it that like, oh, okay, you know. And you have Bahamut's in every game. This was also the last game that we got to see Shiva, Ifrit, I think Bahamut too. Hold on, let me think. I'm not counting 14. 14 doesn't count as MMO. 13 didn't have them. 15 does. 15 has Ifrit and Shiva again, but we didn't see the traditional summons again until 15. Like Shiva, Ifrit. One thing I liked that they did with the summons is they didn't like you don't just bring them out for one attack. They actually come out and they have abilities and they have hit points and stuff and limit breakers. So it's cool to like, they're like characters, so you can bring them out and actually fight with them. What else? I'm trying to think if I'm forgetting anything. I didn't really write notes for this. The game overall, it's good, but it's not great. It's just like Final Fantasy 7. It's not as good as people think. It's good, but it's not like fucking, oh my god, like people talk about Final Fantasy 10 like it's the best thing that ever happened in the world. You have two types of people about this game. You have people who are obsessed and the people who hate it. There's very rarely anybody like in the middle. Like I'm in the middle. I don't really care one way or another. I don't regret playing it again. I wouldn't do it again though. It's not fun. I don't really like Final Fantasy games that have love stories. That's just not interesting to me. And it's been done like so many times. So, but Final Fantasy X's, if you haven't played it, it's a good time. But if you've played it before, I'll talk about Blitzball, I guess, because that everybody knows this game for. So they have like just like Final Fantasy 8, 9, and now 10 had these like sub mini games, and they would have become a series staple going forward. Blitzball was this one's side game. So Blitzball is, and Marcy talks about this, Blitzball is literally like Quidditch in Harry Potter. Like, it exactly the same. Giant. It's like rugby, really. That's the best way to describe it. But there's, like, you can recruit players from all over the world. There's tournaments and stuff, and you have to do it for one of the characters' ultimate weapons to get it powered up all the way. You need it. Again, it's one of those things that's like fun the first like 5 times, and then after that you're just like, whatever. It's not very fun. I mean, I know people that got like all their Blitzball players like level 99, which is fucking insane to me. Like, so crazy, so much time. It probably take you just as long to do that as it would to play the game from beginning to end. Really crazy. And just like with any Final Fantasy game, you have that whole like dynamic of, oh, you think it's this, and then it switches to that, and then it's like, no, it's like actually this, and then it goes back to that, and it's like this whole like thing. All the Final Fantasy games have done it since like 4. So I don't know. I don't know. I kind of feel like at this point Square was getting was I playing Pen when we were at that house? I might have been. I know I was playing the shit out of it whenever I got my first apartment. I don't know. It was just like, it's okay. No, that's, you know, if you haven't played it, play it. If you have played it, don't. It's not worth, and it's literally been ported like so many times. It's for the PS2, then it was on for the and then when Vita came out, it was ported to the Vita, ported to the PS3, and now the PS4. It's not that good. Not that good. It's okay. That's it. Like, it's not great, it's not terrible, it's right in the middle. If you want a game that has a lot to do, like time-wise, this game has a lot to do. I would say in this game, from beginning to end, if you did every single thing in it, and I mean, I'm including Blitzball, everything, it's at easy over 100 hours. Guarantee it. At minimum 100 hours. Like, I would probably more like 120, unless you're A, a speedrunner, or B, you know every single aspect of every single thing. You know, there's just, and that's all I got for Final Fantasy X. It wasn't, and I didn't like 100% it. I didn't get every achievement and stuff because I've done it before and I don't want to do it again. I mean, like I said, it would literally take me another 40 to 50 hours to finish everything that I haven't got to yet. And some of this stuff was okay when we had like CRT TVs, but now that we're all on flat screen HDs, there, you know, there's like a little bit of input lag. So you have like that tiny half a hair frame of lag, and it could fucking make an entire process. Like, there's one part where you have to dodge 200 lightning bolts in a row without getting hit, and so when the lightning flashes on the screen, you have to hit X. On a CRT, it was fine because there was no input lag, but on these TVs, there's like a minor amount of input lag. So that lag can make it, like, you go 135 and then get hit by lightning, and you're like, son of a bitch, I just spent an hour doing this, and I gotta start over. Yeah, that's old news. And that's not because of Square, that's because people wanted it. The fans asked them to do that, so they decided to do that. 15's definitely not, like, they handled it perfect, if you want my opinion. You know, it didn't sell as well as they initially had hoped, but then the DLC, and all the DLC was good except like one part. Like, one of them wasn't very good. No, they already said that's the last thing they're gonna do. They've already started production on the next entry. But I don't know if it's going to be a numbered entry or if it's going to be a side game. To be perfectly... Yeah, and it's a good one though, like for real. If you can get past the way the guys look, it's a good game. It has a good story. It's... Combat blows. I'm not gonna lie. What is that called? Like King's Knight or something like that, I think. But 15 is a really good example of how they develop those characters. All the characters in that game have a lot of development on them, every single one of them, and each one of the guys has their own DLC where it's just them, which I thought was great. That was a really good, and it's not like it's expensive DLC either in comparison to other stuff. Like, no, 15 was good. I'm like halfway through it, I think. I'm like chapter 9 or something. So, alright, so that is my review for Final Fantasy X. Again, not groundbreaking by any means, but for its time in 2002, it was a damn good RPG, and it didn't have a lot of competition back then. Nowadays, Final Fantasy has, as good as 15 is now, it wasn't good at launch, and Square's got to step up their game. They have Final Fantasy VII Remake has been in makes for 4 years now, and they don't even have a team to make it yet. I mean, get your head out of your ass. And people have been asking for a Tactics sequel for, I don't even know, like a billion years. Like, yeah, I mean a true sequel, not those shitty Game Boy Advance games either. Like a true sequel. Alright, so I have God of War pre-ordered. I don't know if I'm gonna do another review before God of War because I don't think I'm really gonna have that much time. I'm still trying to get like the fucking pool cleaned out, and me and Marcy got a lot of stuff we gotta get done. I mean, I don't know. Now, on the subject of that, the DS, I mean, why? I don't understand why people are even making games for it. The Switch is portable, right? Why is Nintendo supporting a last-gen console, and they should just be supporting their main console? They need to get their head out of their ass and start actually releasing games and not remastering a bunch of shit. I'm sure they got stuff coming out, but the Switch has been out for a year. It's got like a handful of exclusives, maybe like 4. They need to start bringing this shit out faster instead of re-releasing a bunch of garbage. Or making these like Japanese anime fan service games. A new what is being announced? E-Train. I don't know, man. I'm not gonna pretend to understand Nintendo's logic because they don't really use logic in their decision-making process. And then you got Xbox over here, like, they bought out all the rights to do third-party advertising. Oh, whatever. Xbox went out and bought all the rights to do these third-party advertising, primarily. Which is dumb, because they think that's the reason why Sony's beating them. No, Sony's beating you because they have better games. Like... I mean, I'm not... There's literally only been one game that's come out for Xbox that I was like, oh, I wish I had an Xbox for. And that was Cuphead. And that was only because it looks super fun. Like, I'll tell you right now, God of War is going to kill it, too. God of War is going to fucking kill sales. They're going to fucking dominate it. And And I can tell because it is very much like Horizon, but in the God of War universe, it's going to do great. People are going to be a little weird. No, I know they're making money, but... I mean, okay, so here's the thing. So if you're a 3DS owner, right? And that company is still making games for your system. Yeah, it took away from the hack and slash part of it, right? It's not just like mindless button mashing and solving like really simple puzzles. Like, it's very much a technical game. And it looks fucking amazing, dude. Like, it makes Horizon look like dog shit, and that's fucking impressive. And Horizon's getting a sequel too, and that'll be out next year. They're probably going to show it off at E3 this year. Bet money on that. They've already got it, like, rolling. So, Xbox is going to get... They better come up with some fucking brilliant idea, or they're going to get left in the dust. And Sony's still making fucking, I don't like them, but there's a series that sells really well. What's it? Uncharted. Uncharted games are still coming out. And they're still selling like a motherfucker. Like, I mean, Sony... I'm trying to think of a exclusive from PlayStation. Yeah, this one is going to be very much like calculated stuff. Like, you have like a parry mechanic. He has like a little like kid with him that you have to control. That uses like range attacks and stuff. But this headset's going out. I have to get a new headset. But I'm trying to think of an exclusive Sony's release that didn't sell well, and I can't think of one right now. I'm sure there is somewhere, but maybe the Ratchet and Clank reboot. I know that didn't sell super well, but it doesn't even matter. The Switch is doing well for whatever reason. Oh yeah. But for every 1804, we got fucking, what's wrong with me today? I can't think. Bloodborns, or Horizons, or God of War, or and the list goes on. Oh, and then fucking Spider-Man's coming out in September, and that's already been hyped up like a motherfucker, and it looks fucking great. And I've never seen a Spider-Man game not sell well. Never. And that's a PlayStation exclusive too. I feel bad for anything that comes out in September, because it's not gonna sell well. Spider-Man's gonna kill it for sure. It's already killing press conferences and shit. But alright, so that's it for this review. I'll post this to YouTube. I think I might next I might tackle Final Fantasy 12, but I don't know if I'm gonna have it done before God of War comes out. So that game is even longer than 10, with a lot more fun. Yeah. So, all right. Well, that's it, guys. I'll see you next time.